Up until now, the entry point for Ferrari has been the Roma. I've been very lucky to have spent time in both the Coupe and the Spider. In fact, I drove a Spider back from Le Mans just a couple of weeks ago. But there's a new kid in town. The new entry point to Ferrari is the Ferrari Amalfi. So yes, I've been invited out here to Italy by Ferrari to take a look at the brand new Ferrari Amalfi. I'll come on to the name a little bit later because this car looks from the outside an awful lot like the Roma. However, there are some significant differences. I'm going to do a bit of a walk around. We don't have very long with the car. We'll start off at the front. I think they have cleaned up the front of this so much compared to Roma. That big grille that you see has gone. This now is a little bit more subtle. We clearly need cooling and so on, but I just love the way that's been cleaned up. This body panel that comes across the front here, for me, I see nods of Dodice Cilindri and even a little bit of F80. And then the lighting, super sleek, much smaller lighting cluster. So I think the front end of the car still maintains that shark-like look, but I like it a lot. Let's wander around the side of the car. There's a lot of underbody aero that's been done to the car as well to improve both drag numbers but also downforce and overall handling and stability. The car sat on 20-inch wheels. There are two tyre options for the car, a Bridgestone and a Pirelli option. Unfortunately, no Michelin for this particular model. As you come down the side, I've always liked the kind of the hips on the back of the Roma. But for me, the biggest difference with this car is the rear end of the car. First things first that's been changed, there is an active aero spoiler on the back that looks much nicer than Roma. That has 3 different deployment modes depending on the speed of the car. It's completely automatic. In its highest downforce setting, it will provide 110 kilos of downforce at 250 kilometers an hour. But the big difference with this car compared to the outgoing Roma, I think, is this has a much more, almost like a slab back. The Roma kind of had a more pointy rear end, and I really like it. It's again, cleaned up, that slab back. It's still got a lot of diffuser work. It's got the nice big 4-exit exhaust. But I think a lot of the aesthetics have just been cleaned up, have just been tweaked a little bit. But yeah, outside, I like it a lot. I've some good news for you. We're at a new car launch, and underneath here, it's not hybridized and it's not electric. It's a V8 petrol. I don't say that many times these days. Now, the standard outgoing Roma was a beautiful car to drive, delivered for me just the right amount of power and driving performance. But this has been improved in many different ways. So, first up, a 3,855 cc V8. It's mid-mounted, so when you look at this, the actual center line of the wheels, the top of the turrets for the suspension of air, everything is back that way to give brilliant weight distribution. It's a transaxle gearbox at the back, Ferrari's brilliant 8-speed dual clutch unit. Power is up from the outgoing Roma, so we've got 640 horsepower, and lightened internals makes the engine a little bit more revvy. It makes it more responsive. They've also changed the gearing in 3rd and 4th to help aid an even better drive. 0 to 62 miles an hour in just 3.3 seconds and 0 to 124 miles an hour in 9 seconds. It may well be the entry-level Ferrari, but it is certainly no slouch. Yesterday afternoon we had a couple of hours of technical briefings on the car, and they showed lots of really interesting charts. We've just talked about the improved performance, not just in terms of horsepower, but also drivability. That makes this car really quick, so you want it to be able to stop as well. And the really interesting thing for me about this car is it now features a brake-by-wire system. So you've got the traditional carbon ceramic Ferrari brakes, but the brake-by-wire system allows a much more consistent, much more powerful retardation of the car. This thing will do 100 kilometers an hour to a dead stop in just 30 meters. and 200 kilometers an hour to a dead stop in under 120 meters, which is something like 10.5 meters shorter than the Roma stopping distance. So you can have confidence to push on with the extra power, but know that you've got that stability under braking, which just makes, for me, the really important bit is not just how quick a car goes from 0 to 60, but it's also the 60 to 0 time. So far, so good, right? I like the new aesthetics, better engine, more drivable, better brakes. But for me, the Achilles heel of all modern Ferraris I've driven in the last couple of years has been the human-machine interface, in particular, the steering wheel. Now, there's a design philosophy at Ferrari that they try and put as much on the steering wheel as possible so that as the driver, you don't need to move your hands to interact with the car. That's why the indicators are just by your thumbs. The challenge for me is two things. I think with SF90, they went that one step too far and they removed real buttons from the steering wheel. Watch my recent 296 review, my Pura Sangue review, even the Dice Cilindri. Two things. I absolutely detested the smooth start-stop button. And I said in those videos, please bring back a proper button, a bit of theatre to start the car. Guess what? We now have a proper engine start-stop button. And it's not a plastic one, it's a really lovely anodized aluminium button. Next up, the controls here for your infotainment system were smooth haptics that you had to double tap to activate. Now, with the 296 Speciale that recently launched, they brought back these buttons, and guess what? That's back in this car as well. And my understanding from the technical briefings we had yesterday is that's going to be the case in all refreshes of Ferraris. Buttons are coming back, which is brilliant. Even things like turning off the ADAS systems, which is a real pain, it's now just a couple of button presses. Super, super simple. And it's really cool that Ferrari have listened to their customers, they've listened to people like me and proper journalists, and they've taken that feedback and they've changed things. And I think that is a brilliant thing, and I wish more manufacturers did that. In terms of the layout, there's basically almost two cockpits, one for the driver and then one for the passenger. You've got three screens. I've got a really lovely big screen with my yellow-backed rev counter. The other challenge that certainly Pura Sangue and 296 has is because they don't have that central screen. Everything's on that main instrument binnacle and it's very confusing, it's difficult to navigate, and actually you can't see a rev counter and CarPlay at the same time. Dice Cilindri and now the Amalfi make up for that because you've got this central screen here where you can have your CarPlay running, and this has been designed so that the passenger can interact with the car just as much as the driver. And then finally you've got a screen just here for the passenger to be able to see, well, basically how fast I'm driving. Last thing to mention is this central console is pretty special as well. It's milled out of a single piece of aluminium. In this spec, it's then clad in carbon fiber. Absolutely beautiful thing. I love the way they've integrated the gear controls. I quite like it when there's a sort of an aluminium backing around there to hark back to the old open gated shifters of manual cars. But actually in this, the way it's been integrated into the carbon fiber is really nice. Final thing about the seats, the 2+2, for me, I look at that and just, it's very much like a Roma format. The boot in the coupe is pretty big. You can drop the rear seats to give you a little bit more space. You could probably get a set of golf clubs in there if you really wanted to. But the news from the inside for me is all about the fact that there are now buttons on the steering wheel. And who would ever have thought 5 years ago that I'd be raving about the fact there's physical buttons on a steering wheel? But honestly, it's a total game changer for this car. So, what are my thoughts on the new Ferrari Amalfi? Well, that's the first thing I want to talk about, the name. For me, when a manufacturer brings out a new car and gives it a new name, it needs to be a new car. And I don't really see this as a new car. It's more of an improvement on the Roma. For me, this is more of a a Roma modificata. That's what they typically do here in Ferrari. They did it with Portofino. The second facelift of Portofino was called a Portofino M. This is a Roma M. So I don't really understand the fact it's got a new name, albeit I really like the name. But in terms of design, I think it's a beautiful looking car. I love the way the front end has been cleaned up. I love that slab-sided rear with a much more attractive active aero device. The interior, we've got buttons. I mean, I never thought I'd be raving about buttons so much in my life. When the announcement was made in the press conference last night that there was a real start-stop button, there was a cheer from the audience. Everyone was like, this is the best thing ever. Deliveries will start in Q1 2026. There's no UK pricing been announced yet, but the Italian pricing is around about 240,000 euros. So it's probably in a similar ballpark to the outgoing Roma. And don't forget, the starting from price with Ferrari is also not normally the price you end up buying, because you'll go and spec it and you'll put some carbon on it and you'll give it a lovely paint colour and you'll end up spending a fair amount making it your car. But I think it's beautiful. What do you think about the new Ferrari Amalfi? Put it in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.